Hey everyone, and thanks for joining me for another round in our Challenge Circuit Design Contest playthrough series. This time we're heading over to Bob334's creation, Bellebrook Golf Club. He's taken on the tight routing of inside a million square yards, and he's got a central creek that affects 6 holes, and he's got a drivable par 4 for his contest elements. So if we take a look at the plot from above, we can see that clearly defined border. I will say that kind of beyond it, there's not much of a reason why that border exists. Obviously, down in this south and the east side, we've got more of a kind of city town going on, and a bit of an industrial area over on the east of the plot. But over on the north and the west, there's just a road for reasons. Um, Maybe could just do with a little bit more world building, a little bit more fleshing that out, because the planting beyond the edge of the plot doesn't look any more dense, any more reason for why the edge of the course would be where the edge of the course is. But we can see that that creek running through kind of diagonally across the plot. Looks like we cross it a couple of times. We've got some holes that run alongside it, perhaps. Yeah, so let's crack on with the round. We'll dive back down to the first tee. So here we are on the first tee, and we've got right off the bat, we're confronted with a bit of a choice. We've kind of got a diagonal carry that we can take on without a great deal of margin for error. Obviously, missing right is terrible. We're down in the creek. Missing left, we're in the bunker. We can play safe. Maybe we get a flatter lie if we're a little bit more defensive. Maybe if we hit a longer drive, we get a slightly better angle into the green. Not a great deal more room. So we're going to have a tough approach anyway. I think maybe the important factor is going to be playing off the fairway to try and get some spin and hold it. So I'm going to hit 3-wood to this middle portion of the fairway and try and leave myself a full shot. And first shot of the day, not bad. Just run slightly through the flat portion of the fairway, so we've got a bit of a side hill lie. A little bit of a bump to kind of deal with coming into the first green. Nice view. Planting looks. I like it. It's kind of understated. It's not too dense. I'd say unkempt is probably the kind of sort of word I'd go for. There's some bushy stuff. There's some kind of wild grass that just looks like it's been kind of left to grow naturally by the green stuff. And go nearly. Just come up a little bit short. Maybe a little bit of a. I mean, it's not a long hole. So there's certainly ways to play it, and not far off chipping in for birdie. That's not necessarily the gentle handshake that sometimes we expect from the first hole, but that's not a problem. Sometimes it's nice fun to start with a challenge straight off the bat. Can ruin your round kind of before it gets underway, but I don't think that hole was overly difficult. I just don't think I played it fantastically. Right, that is a reasonably tough pin on a longer par 4. We're probably likely to have maybe a 7 or an 8 iron in, which isn't too much club, I suppose, but we've not got a lot of room and we've not got a lot of helping slopes either. We almost certainly need to be coming in off the fairway for this, and we don't really want to be laying up, although there's not much mileage in laying up anyway because we have kind of the same amount of room as we do off at driver distance. We're just maybe slightly more challenging that tree on the left with a bit of a pull, perhaps. And that needs to get lucky. Light rough. This is a feature that's perhaps sometimes been missing on some of the challenge circuit courses where we've just gone straight into heavy rough. In fact, does the light? Yeah, the light rough disappears around the green, which is an interesting choice. We'll see how it plays because right off the bat that doesn't necessarily make sense to me. But I suppose if we're running just through the fairway and we're collecting in the heavy rough, we get a slightly more difficult recovery shot. So that does kind of make things a little bit interesting. We might find the green. Yeah, bit lucky. Not the best shot, but we're on the green at least. We've got a putt for our birdie. Not the best putt, but we'll tap in for par. So here we go. First par 3 of the round. We've got a bit of an industrious view beyond the green that I'd have probably tried to hide a bit more. We look like we've kind of got beef eaters. We've got a lot going on. We've got a funeral. I mean, it's different, I suppose. But yeah, the industrial area, kind of when you're playing golf, you more want to be surrounded by the natural beauty. I'd have probably hidden that with some trees in front of it and so on, because kind of tee to green, and with that tree just in the back right of the green, we've got quite a nice landscape. Nice downhill shot, and then yeah, just some factories in the background. Oh, a little bit fast, pulled it, but should find the green. Yeah, we're putting. Another long breaking putt. Not the best approach and not the best putt either, but should hopefully be able to roll this in. Just about. Greens are kind of just on the slow end of medium. Right, and we're on to our first par 5 of the day. No reason not to hit driver. That's going to invite the possibility of getting home in 2 if we hit a good one. There's not a great deal of decision making. Further left we go, more of a side hill lie we get, but maybe a slightly better angle in. But kind of middle of the fairway is going to be good. Or we can push it down the right a little. But with the wind at our back, taking a big chunk out of this hole already. And we can hit a 5-iron in. Hope to use that slope a little and feed the ball round. We're coming in over the water, but it's not really an issue for if we're going for it. It's going to affect if we're laying up. So maybe it will be, if the green was tucked in here, perhaps. Maybe if the tee was dropped a little bit further back and we have trouble kind of on 2 or 3 sides of the green, going for it or laying up is a bit more of a question. But from here, there's not really a question. They'll have no reason to lay up. I'm not taking a substantial risk. Might go a little long. Just missed the green, but I'm not in too bad shape. Just a little bump and run. Should make birdie at worst. Only going to be birdie, not the best chip. So, yeah, could be doing with asking a little bit more of the golfer in terms of risk reward there. Okay, so par 4 now. Across the lake, this tree's kind of in the way of where we want to hit our shot. We're going to risk running out of fairway. Hitting 3-wood, we're bringing these bunkers into play and still bringing the water into play. At least with the driver, we're probably not bringing the water into play at all. But then the further left we go, we're playing down the slope of the green, so we're risking not being able to hold it. So there's not an immediately obvious way to play this hole. I'm kind of just going to hit driver down this side and hope to hold the fairway. Maybe try and take a little bit off it. Or hit it fast and take a lot off it. Got lucky with a miss hit that avoided the water. But I mean, the fact that there's not really an appealing way to play the hole is a concern. I'm not sure how you have planned that hole to be played kind of optimally. But I mean, all things considered, I've still got a birdie putt, rammed it home, so maybe I've just missed a trick and that was the correct way to play the hole. Right, centre line hazard. If we take the left route, we're coming in over this bunker. If we take the right route, we're making the approach a bit longer. Maybe bringing the water into play with a really bad one as well. I'm not sure the bunker is close enough to the pin to really kind of impact our approach shot. So we're in terms of fairway size, there's not a great deal of difference between left or right, so I might as well just take the shorter path, hit it down the left, and hit it fast again, and just about cling on. We've got a wedge slightly into the wind, slightly uphill. Hopefully this is gonna hold all right. I've hit it fast again. So early morning, not swinging great. Bunker shot, first recovery shot of the day, and it's okay. Give me a chance at my par at least. No, no good. Gonna have to roll in the bogey putt and give one of those birdies straight back. There we go. Okay, second par 3 of the round. I think we're playing in the same direction as the previous par 3. I think the first one was with the wind as well. So just something to be aware of to maybe try and change up the directions a little more. Remains to be seen how the other two play. I'm assuming there's 2 more. We've got an interesting little kicker slope at the back of the green to maybe feed our ball back down to the pin. We want to get it up over this tier. So we got a little bit going on to help us. And I've hit it fast again. Got to hope to get a bit lucky. Just about. So, yeah, swinging terribly, but getting away with it. I've left that way short. But we can make our putt, make our par. And stop the rot at the very least. So here we go. Here's our drivable par 4. And it's, you know, maybe not even driver, which is an interesting way to add defense to the hole, because hitting a partial drive is quite tough at times, kind of controlling your distance. It's easy to hit 101% drive and hammer it through to roll out as much as possible. But here, I think playing safely away from the green is probably going to be quite a prudent play. That slope is hopefully going to kick me down towards green anyway, and just leave me with a bump and run. You probably don't really need any sort of hazards around this bit of fairway, because if I'm laying up all the way back here and then leaving myself a shot in over the water, that's kind of the difficulty there. Probably slightly overprotected, kind of the 6-iron wedge play. So that's a better swing. And yeah, just caught the hill, bounce down to where I can chip close, hopefully, and get rewarded for playing sensibly. I mean, I'm probably not making eagle. I've kind of taken that out of running. I might not even make birdie with a chip like that, but at least I'm not making bogey or worse. Caught the lip, but so that's a pretty good kind of risk-reward hole. That I played it fairly sensibly. Probably should have made birdie, but hit a poor chip and missed the putt. But that kind of asks questions of me. How do I want to play it? Par 5, playing with the wind again. Crossing the creek doesn't really come into play. Would be nice if it did. With the wind, again, no reason not really to hit driver. And maybe a chance of getting home in 2, but won't get ahead of ourselves. That's a pretty good swing. Bashed it down the middle. And we're going to be, yeah, a mid-iron into the green. So we've gone from kind of asking questions of, are we going for the green under regulation, to sort of, why wouldn't we go for this? I imagine maybe if the wind's in our face, this is a bit more of a question, because it's quite a small green. I've hit it terribly to completely rubbish any point that I'm making. Yeah, quite a small green, so I can imagine that coming into it with a 3-wood or a hybrid or whatever might be a different question, and we're looking at laying up. But with a drive like that, there's no reason why I shouldn't go for it, and there's kind of no excuse as to why I've put it in the bunker. But a decent recovery shot, and make the birdie anyway. So, all's well that ends well. We start the back nine. A bit of quirkiness going on here. We've got like a couple of trees in the middle, and yeah, kind of a natural depression. If we take the right path, we've got a little bit more room, I think, but a diagonal kind of landing area. Might risk running into that bunker. As it is, neither side gets a hugely appealing route into at least this pin, because that kind of half tier that we've got going on in front of it. I suppose maybe coming in from the left side is going to be better, because I can hopefully kind of negotiate it, and I have a bit more helping slope behind me. So I suppose that's kind of my reward for taking on the tighter side. Or I could miss them both. Just about got lucky. A short enough approach, I guess. Kind of only a sand wedge in hand. And hope to miss that tier and bring it back. Gonna leave myself a downhill putt with that shot. So not ideal, but not the worst either. And let's roll this one in. No, that's breaking too much. I've just tapped it and it's run through a little bit, so I would be wary about turning these greens up at all. But they seem alright at the speed that they're designed at. Another par 3 that we've got a little bit more of a view of that kind of industrial area over the back of the green in the distance, which, again, personally I'd have hidden, but is what it is, isn't it? Got the water in front of the green. Maybe could have cut it a little bit tighter. As it is, it's going to be a really bad shot to put it in the water. Whereas if it was, I can see myself missing this green with like just a normal kind of level of bad shot. But to put it in this bunker or to put it in the water is sort of extra bad, which I suppose would be deserving of that punishment. And I mean, yeah, that's not a great shot. A little bit fast. Surefire way for me to get myself in trouble is to mention a hazard, because that guarantees I'm going in it, and I was very wary of that. But what a bomb! So great putt to make my birdie. That possibly wasn't quite deserved off the tee, but right, a little bit of funkiness again going on this fairway. We kind of can't really use much of this because we're risking running out into that bunker. We're carrying this bunker, so we've kind of, there's a little bit of margin for error, I suppose, but we've only really got that really tight, narrow landing area. I suppose we can lay up, and that's probably a more sensible suggestion. So that's what I'm going to do. And bunker sculpting here looks reasonably good. I like the kind of burned out patches in the face. This one's a little bit lifeless, and so's the one up here, which I don't really feel adds much. We shouldn't really be going in it. Back bunkers, to me, are just normally quite awkward anyway. There's a little bit more of a reason why the course boundary is where it is here. We've got some farm animals and kind of a vineyard. So that makes a bit of sense, bit of kind of expanded. Oh, that's a poor shot. Bit of an expanded universe going on around Bellebrook. Right, let's try and hit a decent recovery. Put myself in jail a little bit, but got out of it with a good chip. So, yeah, there's certainly been chances to make mistakes, but I've not really found myself in a position that I can't recover from so far. So, a decent test. I think a mix of questions. We're doing all right for kind of the difficulty that we're looking at. Although, yeah, maybe we'd like more strategic options, more think my way around the course, rather than the holes that I've laid up. Laying up has kind of been the obvious play, and the holes that I've and then when I haven't laid up, it's been kind of no reason not to just open the shoulders and hit driver. Couple of split fairways that have been there. That's a very on the nose way to ask questions. Or just raced on by. Maybe lacking a little bit of subtlety of kind of picking a side of the fairway, um, rather than picking the side of a centerline hazard. Right, another par five. Again, kind of a little bit of fairway that's not really much use. No one's aiming for it here, and even if we're on it, we're blocked out by the trees. So our kind of usable portions of fairway is cut off there. And we're actually more pinched at 3-wood than we are at driver. So I have absolutely no reason to lay up here. And I would prefer to be down the right side, but on the fairway is going to be good. Yeah, sort of middle right side of the fairway. And again, mid to long iron in, up the hill. Got quite a small tier going on. But there's not really a reason not to go for it. Like, to avoid putting it in the rough, I'd be laying up back here. Whereas if I go for the green, even if I slightly mishit it, and I'm in the rough around it, I'm at least sort of chipping rather than trying to hit a pitch. So yeah, no reason not to go for it. Not a fantastic shot, found the centre of the green, so again, probably not making eagle, but should make birdie. Yeah, and had definitely taken par and bogey out of the equation, really. So there wasn't a great deal of risk involved in that. Right. Okay, so we can lay up to a really fat portion of the fairway, or we can take a drive on the closer we get to the water, the shorter our approach is going to be. But I feel like, in terms of angles, especially to this pin, maybe we get a better angle in from here than we do from here anyway, and this is less risk. So I'm just going to hit a hybrid. Oh, it's not less risk if you hit it like that. So that's as bad as it can go. Tried to lay up and mishit it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pitch out and pretend that I didn't hit a terrible one. And then I can see what my kind of approach would have been from a layup here. So yeah, if I'd left myself a sort of mid iron in up the hill, green's not got too much in the way of defence. Missing left, we're going to get pushed down here. We haven't had too much of that going on, so that's a nice kind of sort of different defence to what we've been seeing. That would have been a green in regulation if I hadn't completely messed it up off the tee. But so that seems like the sensible way to play the hole. Say par at least. And we're kind of having to use some creative license to ignore the fact that I did hit one of the worst shots of all time. But if I'd have hit my driver like that, I'd have been in an even worse position. So hopefully I have illustrated the point that I'm trying to make. Right, with the wind down the hill, straight over this bunker. View off the tee looks quite nice. If we pull it, we're running into this one, and then we've got a long approach out of the sand. If we push it, we're likely to run away into the rough down there with the camber of the fairway. But I don't really have a reason to hit 3-wood. We're pinched. Even if I hit hybrid, I'm risking running into that bunker. 4-iron, I'm just playing way too far back, so I kind of have to hit driver. Which is sort of what I've been saying about the decision making on the course. A lot of it is pretty well forced. That is an excellent drive. I don't really like hitting those 9-iron pitches. Got to try and be a bit cute with this, though. A bit delicate. Overhit my drive, if anything. And pushed my approach. So put myself in a good position and then couldn't capitalise. But the greens have been pretty good in that they've definitely left scoring opportunities available. I've held a couple of good putts that I've obviously I must have had a chance as I've made them. Right, we're playing back into the wind on a long par 3 here, slightly up the hill. We're probably over defended in here. We've got no chance of kind of running the ball up to the pin. We'd have to use this backstop, which is what I'm going to try for this pin anyway. Going to have to take a little bit off the hybrid. This is going to have to be a bit of a manufactured shot. Still going to be long unless it gets lucky. Just holds the fringe. So probably slightly over defended, even on the easier side of the green there. Decent chip. I made my par, but I don't see the possibility of really making a score on that. We're kind of just playing for par, and if we get an opportunity to make birdie, it's probably more by luck than judgment. Right, so par 5 to finish. I can kind of tell what you're going for here. If we go left of this bunker, we have a shorter shot in at the green, and we have a chance of going for it. So hitting it 300 off the tee leaves us 250 in. Whereas if we hit it 300 down the right of the fairway, we've got 300 into the green. It's just maybe a little... This kind of the shape of the fairway is just throwing me as awkward, and the fact that we've got trees involved here as well. You're kind of trying to tempt me into taking this route and then giving me all the reasons not to, instead of just letting like the threat of the bunker and maybe there's a tee in here, so I can see where there are trees there to protect that tee. A little bit of a routing issue, perhaps. But you're probably better off just protecting kind of maybe a little bit up here, and giving all of the freedom in the world to hit it out here. If I'm out here already, I'm laying up with my second anyway. Being in that bunker is not affecting how I'm going to play it. So I'm going to haul off and try and open the shoulders and get one down there. Down the fat side, but hopefully run through anyway. I've hit it fast, so anything I can say about this hole is pretty much going to be redundant. I have put myself in a position, kind of ironically, where I can go for the green. A little bit of planting just creeping into the bunker there that I don't think I've noticed anywhere else on the course. Seems strange to add that in on the 18th. I feel like that might be an accident. Oh, that's an awful swing as well. And I've found the ravine. So, there we go. Was tempted into going for it and hit it terribly. I'm going to have to go back and hit again, aren't I? So we're going to finish with a big number. Oh, and yeah, maybe a thought of getting the green even closer to the out of bounds as well and have the trouble all around if we're threatening coming in from that far, but I've missed quite big. I've played too safe with my second approach and made life difficult for myself. Finished with a bogey, so could have been worse. Not the best scorecard I've put together. I definitely could have gone lower. A couple of bogeys hurt me there, but thank you very much for the round. Really enjoyed it. The course was pretty cool. Definitely had some potential. Hopefully, moving forward, you can give the strategy of the thing a bit more thought, and kind of ask questions of how I would be playing a hole and why I would be choosing which option I'd be choosing, and if there's kind of a reason to do something else. But good fun. Definitely a lot of potential, and I'm looking forward to seeing more from you. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Feel free to drop a like and subscribe, and check me out on Twitch, where I'll be live streaming mostly design, but a bit of everything over there. And until next time, guys, I hope you have a great day. That's all from me. Bye for now.